All right, so David, I saved this one from last week. This is a good question. I want to answer this, and this is really kind of it. I went into great detail last week about the three things that I found through a lot of trial and error over the last 2 years that is most effective for local SEO right now, and that is if you nail those three things, it makes everything else easier. Well, there's really a fourth component to that that I think this question is perfect for, and I don't remember if I really covered this thoroughly enough last week or not. So this would be a good um, addition to last week's training, which is this question, and I'll answer it. I have a general contractor with 4 different websites for 4 different service offerings: custom garages, ADUs, pavers, and fully custom homes. I'm considering recommending that he combine all of his service offerings into one site. He claims that Google Ads are more effective when pointed at these types of bespoke websites. While I feel it's simply about landing page URL, interested in your thoughts. Thanks. And I agree, David, for a couple of reasons. Number one, Google Ads is about the landing page, not the site. So if you send, at least from what I understand, and I'm not a Google Ads expert by any stretch of the imagination, but um, it's usually best practice for Google Ads is to send to a dedicated landing page for whatever the offer was that was claimed in the ad. Like, in other words, whatever the offer is stated in the ad, so that the ad headline and copy has a claim, like get an offer, whether it's to request an estimate or whatever it is. Um, so that landing page speaks specifically to that ad, the copy of that ad and what it's promoting, whatever the conversion goal is or action or whatever. So that's just a landing page thing. It's not a site thing. And if from best practices from building landing pages for ads campaigns, it's my understanding from pretty much every training I've ever gone through about ads is that it should be a dedicated landing page, speak specifically to that offer that was addressed in the ad or promoted in the ad. And it doesn't really have navigational elements. If it does, they're hard to see and that kind of stuff because you don't want to distract. You want them to complete the conversion goal that you sent them to the landing page for in the first place, and that's it. You don't want them doing other things. You don't want them leaving that page, getting distracted, and not converting. So that's the whole point. So I agree that should be kind of just a landing page thing. And by the way, I run ads for some clients. I don't have any measure of consistency for any of them. I don't know why I can't get Google Ads to be consistent. But I always just create landing page and swipe pages. That's just what I use for my ads landing pages. And then we just create a subdomain or something on the client site or the client's domain and then point that to swipe pages. And so we always just run separate landing pages for whatever services they want to promote. And it's done externally through another landing page builder, not on their main website. Okay, so I agree with you on that. Number two, I also agree that it's better to have one website because if it's the same business and they have 4 different sites, then they have 4 assets that they need to build links to and everything else. And that's 4 different assets that can cause problems for Google to understand who the business is, what they do, and where they do it because they have multiple websites that promote different services. It's better to combine all of those into a logical manner into one site. So now you have one asset that Google can clearly tie to, or you know, they can clearly make the connection. Google can clearly make the connection that that site is for this brand, and the site displays the products or services. So who you are, what you do, and where you do it, right? So that, in my opinion, is a much better way because now you've got one target asset or one target website essentially to build links to. You can build a lot of authority to it that way. Because again, instead of having 4 different link building targets and trying to take the same marketing budget and spread it across 4 assets, you've got one asset now. So it becomes stronger faster, right? As long as it's done properly. And I spent a lot of time last week talking about proper page structure, site structure, and internal linking, and that is critical. And so for something like this, for this particular example question here, I would absolutely consolidate and I would optimize for general contractor as the primary topic or category. Because that is a Google business category, general contractor. And if we go search Google Wikipedia, general contractor is a general contractor, main contractor, prime contractor, builder in the UK or Australia, or contractor so general contractor and contractor are synonymous with each other in US and Asia as well. That is responsible for the day-to-day oversight of a construction site, management of vendors and trades, and the communication of information to all involved parties throughout the course of a building project. So that's precisely what a general contractor does. usually general contractors manage subcontractors, right? So that's what they do, or they might have separate crews that are actually employees of the company. So they're not subcontractors, they're employees, but they have different divisions. So a general contractor, I know I come from the construction industry, spent 20 years as an electrician. So I fully understand this industry. In general contractors, again, they usually have either separate crews for each one of those types of services, or they have subcontractors, which is what a lot of them do. And so a general contractor is by far, in my opinion, based upon this particular question, would be what I would optimize as the top level category, and therefore the top level topic term. And so you could have a general, like basically the homepage, and I covered this very thoroughly last week, so I'm not going to rehash that today. You guys can go back and watch the replay from last week. The homepage should be the brand page, in my opinion. Full stop. And that, like, you should always promote the brand first and foremost on the homepage. So the homepage should be the brand page, but then there can be a general contracting page, right? So a page specifically about general contracting services that then breaks out into that page. Really, it's just a navigational page that then links to each individual specific services that general contractor provides: custom garages, ADUs, pavers, and fully custom homes, right? So custom home builder. And so those can be their own top level categories. They don't have to be subcategories of general contractor. Does that make sense? They can be, so essentially you would end up having now the custom garage topic or category on the site, one for ADUs, one for pavers or paving or whatever, and then one for custom built homes, custom home builder, however you decide to word that, if that's clear. And so now each one of those top level pages would then have, H2s that would support that top level category. So specific services within each business category. That's what the H2s are for, right? So you have the SEO title, which is the document title. You have the page title, which is the heading, or excuse me, H1 tag. Then you have the headings and subheadings, and maybe subheadings. So that'd be H2s, H3s, H4s, etc. I usually don't. Sometimes I use H4s, but mostly stop at H3s. That's the proper page structure. But then the site structure matters, and internal linking, how you connect all of that through internal linking matters. Okay, so I covered a lot of that last week. So again, I'm not going to cover that again, but specifically with this, I would do a general contracting page that then is mainly a navigational page. It shouldn't be part of the silo for the subsequent pages or the other top level categories like custom garages. I would do general contracting / custom garages. I would just make general contracting a navigational page, because, and by the way, what I would do with that is I would make that general contracting page the location landing page for the Google Business Profile. So this is that fourth component that I was just mentioning a moment ago, and I can't remember, without going back and watching the replay myself, I can't remember whether I covered this last week or not, which is, first understand how you want to structure the site so that it's logical and it makes sense. So in this particular example, I'm talking about, have the homepage as the homepage, the brand page. Don't make that the location landing page, meaning don't link to that directly from the GBP if it's a single location business. Instead, I would use the general contracting page, which is a navigational page, because here's why. That general contracting page can provide agreement, so it corroborates how the GBP would be optimized with general contractor as the primary category. And these other ones, garage builder or whatever, maybe it's garage contractor, we could probably find it here. In fact, let's just do a quick search for something like that, see what we find. There's only 3. It's garage builder. That would be the top level category page. So you understand? So you have general contractor, but make that the primary Google Business category, because general contractor can manage, or all those other categories can be essentially served by that general contracting overall top level category. So the GBP can only be optimized for one primary category. Make that the broadest, most general category that is relevant to all of the other service categories, right? So general contract is perfect for that. So that should be the location landing page, not the home page, right? Because now you optimize for brand, general contractor, city, state, where the Google Business Profile is located. And if it's a general contractor, they probably have, or as it is, they probably have a large service area. Most of them do. And so you optimize the homepage for brand, who you are, what you do. So you could put in that garages, ADUs, paving, and whatever the other one was. custom homes, right? You could put that all in the SEO title of the homepage and in the broadest region, whatever that region is. So I don't know where they're at, but if they have a service area that includes multiple locations or what I don't mean multiple Google business locations, but meaning they are targeting multiple locations to generate leads from, then you want to identify what is the broadest regional area for that specific or for their service area. And what is the entity name for that specific named entity for a region? So sometimes that's a county, sometimes it's a region. So figure that out, go to Wikipedia, search it, find it, go to Google and search, and then find the Wikipedia. And you can figure out what the broadest region is. And so you optimize the homepage for that. Then you would optimize the general contracting page for who you are, brand name, what you do, top level categories, so general contractor, where you do it, specific city and state. Because now that location landing page is linking to a page that is optimized that corroborates how the GBP is optimized. And this is that fourth component. And that is that landing page should be optimized for the intent of the search or the visitor, right? Which is usually when somebody comes from Google Maps, it's a local search query, right? Local intent. They've found a potential provider. They've either engaged through the Maps profile or the knowledge panel, whichever, and they click through and then they click the website URL. That should take them to the page that, if it's a storefront business, provides directions or address, like where the location is, contact lead capture, right? Or contact mechanism. In other words, if somebody comes from Maps and they click the website URL from Google Maps, they are looking for information about where to go if it's a storefront, or how to contact the company, or to request that the company contact them. And maybe they want to also find out more about the products or services that that company provides. But that location landing page doesn't need to be a brain dump or just a diarrhea of the mouth, as I like to say, of 3,000 words of content trying to explain all the products and services and everything else. That page could be literally optimized for lead cap, who you are, what you do, where you do it, lead capture, that's the conversion goal, and navigational elements that point to the appropriate parts of the page. That's that internal linking. So remember I said page structure, site structure, internal linking. The fourth component for a local project then is to tie the location landing page into that, to optimize the location landing page the same way that the Google Business Profile is optimized, and make it very logical and easy, optimized for intent for the visitor, which is, where is this business located? How do I contact them or have them contact me? And if I want to find out more information about the products and services that they provide, can I get to can I do that? Can it provide me with more information? And so that page could be literally not a lot of content, but just lead capture, location information, if that's relevant, and then navigational elements to each one of those other parts of the site. And here's the thing. If they have those multiple categories, they want to link to put H2s for each one of those supporting categories. That was a bug. I'm not going crazy. You want to have an H2 for each of those additional categories on that page. And then they want to have a link that goes from, that links to each one of those category pages, service category pages on the site. So the top level service category page. Now that location landing page is providing 100% corroboration or agreement, as Ted Kubaitis said. Again, I liked his term because it's a little bit simpler, but it provides 100% agreement with how the GBP is optimized. It's very clear now to Google and to the Google user, the visitor, what the page is for. Instead of, again, guys, don't get me wrong, and I did get the bug, it's on my hands. I've been guilty of this too. It's only recently that I've discovered this. And again, it's just through a lot of testing, guys, that I've done this, a lot of trial and error. Which is why I encourage you guys, don't believe me, just go test it. Okay. But location landing pages, I used to do a ton of content on those pages too, because again, 2 years ago, that's what we did and it worked. But now that we don't need to do that anymore. If you get page structure, site structure, internal linking, and when it's a local project, you include the Google Business, the location landing page, which is optimized properly, then it can be literally a navigational page that should satisfy the intent of the visitor. Who you are, what you do, and where you do it, or maybe what you're located, like how to find you, like where is the location, lead capture information, or a way for them to contact the business, and then navigational elements to where they can click to find more information about the specific products and services that the company provides, preferably through the category structure that the Google business category structure that has already been identified in the GBP, right? Because now, if you guys think about it, the location landing page is now optimized 100% exactly the way Google Business Profile is optimized. The Google Business categories as additional categories are referenced as H2s, signifying their importance. And then there's internal links that directs the visitor to each one of those pages. And that forces Google, like we help to assert the associations between that location landing page and the Google business categories, thereby the products and services that that particular business provides or offers, right? It's so logical. It makes sense to me that why it works. I don't understand why it took so long to get to this for me. Like, no kidding. It took 2 years of me testing for me to finally understand why this is working so well. And it's because we make, guys, again, we understand that Google doesn't read content really. It caches the pages, yes, but it doesn't really read the content. And Google servers are way overloaded right now. They're overwhelmed. Google's been public about that. That's why they've throttled crawl budget, and crawl cycle timing, and everything and that's why it takes so long to get stuff indexed. Everything. Google's servers are overloaded. They're public about that. So if we can make it very logical and easy for Google to understand who the business is, what they do, and where they do it, and we can do that very easily through page structure, site structure, internal linking, and if it's a Google Business Profile, certainly you want to optimize the location landing page to provide agreement with how or corroborate how the local business, the GBP is optimized. And if you do hit the major points, and always do this because it's like pulling the biggest levers that have the most leverage, right? So the things that have the most leverage to produce effect with the least amount of effort. And that's why I focus on page structure, site structure, and internal linking, because with that, you need significantly less content in order to achieve results. Does that make sense? And then also with proper structure, it requires significantly less links or off-page signals, which includes links, to get results. And so again, everything is more efficient when you do it this way. And so it takes some time to figure out the perfect structure and configuration for your particular industry. It will take a little bit of trial and error. I can give you the framework, which I've been doing as many times as every time I get on a webinar, I'm basically talking about the same stuff because I keep trying to hammer this home, and I hope that this breaks through to some people and they figure out for their own specific industries. Again, I can give examples and frameworks, but every one of them is going to require some trial and error, some testing of different configurations within that framework to figure out what performs the best. But once you figure that out, you can scale like crazy because now you just duplicate that over and over and over again instead of reinventing the wheel. Instead of going out and researching a whole new industry, all new keywords, start playing around with site structure again and everything else, just get good at one and do it over and over and over again. And that's how you start generating a shit ton more revenue. And guys, I'm telling you, when you get it right with these tree service sites, I'm crushing it right now. And it's because it through a lot of trial and error, I found the winning recipe. And I know I talk about that a lot, but it's really working very well. And it can be modified to various other circumstances, situations like this one here. And I truly believe, I'm not in this industry, but I can almost promise, virtually guarantee that if you did that for your client site, it's not going to happen overnight, but it will start to perform a lot better because now you start consolidating. By the way, I would take each one of those individual websites and make sure that you redirect any of the relevant pages to the relevant pages on the new site. It's structured better and everything else, because that way you capture any off-page work that was done, if any, to those 4 different websites, and it would eventually, it flows through to the main site. So I expect it would perform significantly better. And again, guys, it's really just about, if you do it right, like I said, it requires a hell of a lot less work, less content, less links, so less investment, less resources to achieve results, and it tends to respond quicker too. And you know, clients are impatient, so are SEOs. So I would encourage you, just like, again, play around with it. Do you think it would work? Do I think it would work? Yeah, and that's how I would do it. If I had a general contractor client, that's how I would recommend doing it. So the homepage optimized for brand, you could reference all of the different top level services or whatever on that. And then the broadest region, then the location landing page will be brand specific primary, the top level primary Google business category. And in this specific city and state, that's a navigational page that then allows them to go to, lead capture, so first and foremost, but then also allows them to click through to each one of the top levels category pages, the additional categories, where they can find out more information about the specific services available to that category, that service category. Right. And again, that would be so that's now down on the page structure level. H2s for each of the services, and then internal links, and an internal link from those service pages to the location landing page, the general contractor page. Does that make sense? So it's a reciprocal link. You're asserting associations between services and location. And it's done through site structure and internal linking. And I talked about this last week too, but semantic triplets, right? That's why I do all of my top level pages. Blog posts are different. You can have conversational titles plus brand. That's what I do for blog posts. That should be supporting content. Supporting content is different. But for top level pages, so product or service category pages and top level location pages, so like location landing pages, right? I talk about the semantic triplets. So who you are, what you do, and where you do it. The order of those elements can be transposed or rearranged. It doesn't matter. You want to hit those 3 points. Who you are, what you do, where you do it. I don't care what order they're in. So like for organic pages, we will swap it sometimes and have what we do, where we do it, and who we are. And that's fine. The point is you're hitting those 3 points. It's short, it's succinct, it's easy for Google's document retrieval algorithm to understand. And again, you start to assert relationships or associations between entities through internal linking. And it's just very, very powerful method, guys. It just simplified the process of building sites, in my opinion. It really has. Because, 2 years ago, where I would have had 25 pages for 5 services in 5 cities, and I would have had 1,500 to 2,000 words on every single one of those pages. Like the amount of effort that goes into producing all that content and all those pages and now all those link targets and all that, it's just ridiculous. It's just stupid. And we all did it. I did it. I'm not questioning. We did it because it worked. But I'm saying now that's not the best way to do it. It's not the best way to work for local sites, especially service area business sites. This can be modified to storefront businesses, but I don't work in the storefront business with storefront businesses, so I don't have any exact data for that. I assume it would be as effective, but it would have to be modified slightly. The point is now I'll have 5 services, 5 locations. Okay, we got basically 10 pages, okay, with significantly less content. The service pages will be rich with content that's very thorough about that specific service. But the location page is really a navigational page. It's to satisfy the intent of the user, the visitor, which is here's how to contact us or request that we contact you. Here's what we do. Here's where we do it. And if you need additional information about what we do, here's where you can click to take you to that specific service pages. That's it. Much simpler site build, guys. Less content, less link targets, all of that. If you do that right, the site will perform a lot better, and so will the map, especially when that 4th component, which is optimizing the location landing page to provide agreement with how the GBP is optimized. And again, thank you, Ted, for that term. So anyway, I think that was a great question. That's why I wanted to add it again, or excuse me, that's why I saved it last week for us to talk about this week. So anyway, hopefully that's clear.